The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 10th day of July, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Teo Dill will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in his news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. All right, so happy Wednesday, everybody. It's the middle of the traditional work week for you. Happy Wednesday. Hopefully everyone is having a good it's not the first full week, second full week of July. Yeah, hopefully everyone's having a good start to their July and official summit holiday. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Wednesday, Jamal and Teo, and an awesome Wednesday to you as well. How's everyone's week going? Everyone feeling good midweek? Everyone feeling accomplished? Like, you know, things are happening for them this week. I mean, we are in summer. I saw some folks yesterday talking about how hot it was in Bermuda, and just always whenever I see that, it takes me back to like 6 months ago when people were like, "Oh, it's so cold, I can't wait to summer." Right? We are such an interesting species. We're never pleased. It's either too hot or too cold. Never really just right, right? Never just right for us. But happy Wednesday to everyone out there. Also, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Azuree Williams from Bermuda Cancer and Health. We're going to be discussing what they're doing to educate people about protecting their skin. So SunSmart, they have a SunSmart program. So should be a good conversation. The daily play has something to do with music today. So someone will join Rosalind Famous to be eligible for this week's prize if they get the answer correct. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Without further ado, let's get to today's question or topic. So, folks, as you know, the premier held a press conference last month, I believe, or month before, but he was basically sharing how, you know, people will be able to go online and pay for certain government, you know, things, right? You'd be able to go online and pay. And then the public transport digital fare app went live as well, the SureLink app, right? That went live. And then there was a report I saw, $1 million tech upgrade as judiciary embraces change. And the Chief Justice, Larry Mosenden, you know, revealed in his judiciary annual report this year that government had provided the funding for such a system, right? So electronic case management system is expected to be operational in Bermuda's courts by April 1st next year. And that's according to the Royal Gazette. But with that said, you know, with all this change happening, you know, we're an interesting population because what we don't want to do is turn everything based on what you all have said, so it becomes so electronic that those who are not technically inclined, those who have challenges with technology are, you know, SOL, right? So the question of the morning is, what kind of new technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? Like, what other kinds of technology? You know, you've got, they're doing a thing with public transportation, right? You're going to have rideshare soon. The judiciary is getting upgraded. You've got you're going to have the ability to pay bills online. Like, what other kinds of technology do you think would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? Electronic voting for elections, maybe. You know, maybe a grading system for businesses that can go right to consumer affairs, rather than people going on Facebook and airing their grievances with someone whose prices are high and they don't want to pay them. What are your thoughts though? What other kind of technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? But before you answer that, here's a yes. Are you in favor of more technology? Because I know a lot of people, they don't really care for technology. They believe that technology eliminates jobs, right? Some people think that taking away too much technology removes the human element, which is, the service element of business. But what are you in favor of more technology? Like, again, you're going to have the ride share. You've got SureLink. There are people who are upset with banks because some banks don't have tellers anymore. It's all automated, right, for the most part. And if they do have tellers, it's like one or two, and then you've got 30 people waiting in line. But are you in favor of more technology in Bermuda? Are you in favor? Yes or no? Are you in favor of more technology in Bermuda? What are your thoughts? And again, what kind of technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? What kind of technology do you believe would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? But also, are you in favor of more technology? Yes or no? Just a yes or no, audience. Just a quick yes or no. Are you in favor of more technology in Bermuda for Bermudians? Do you believe that more technology is necessary or needed in Bermuda to improve Bermuda for Bermudians? What are your thoughts? Are you in favor of more technology in Bermuda for Bermudians? And the question of the morning is, what kind of new technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? What kind of new technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? Sancha Durham says immigration processes. Sancha, that was the first one that came to my mind, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. And that's just thinking for self. Like, I'd been spoiled living in the US. Things like global entry, everything's electronic, right? My hope is that Bermuda would do some of that stuff as well. But also, once you get to the Bermuda airport, get your bags scanned or checked or sniffed or whatnot. But I honestly believe that we should be able to, pay our duty online. Do that as soon as we come. All we have to do is pick up our bags, go through a secondary check, and jet out. I like the way how you just put your passport on the thing, it opens the door and you go. But I think it could be even more seamless. All documents, and I know there are some documents you can fill out online now, but I think everything should be allowed to be done online. It'd be more efficient. And Hadley and Swan agrees. Yes. Says I concur with Sancha. What else, folks? Are you in favor? Yes or no, audience? Are you in favor of more technology? Yes or no? Are you in favor of more technology? Yes or no? But what kind of technology? Again, the government, they've mentioned, the Chief Justice yesterday mentioned an upgrade in the electronic court systems. We have the SureLink app for public transportation. We also have the, what's it called? The systems that the Premier mentioned that we will be able to, people will be able to make online payments. So I think we're finally heading in a direction that many will be pleased with. But are you in favor of more technology? Derek Hendrickson says yes. He says yes. Kia Verne BDA says technology is important to make things more efficient and easier, but has to be sustainable, earth-friendly, practical, and also education around technology on how to use it responsibly. Indeed, absolutely. And those are some key points. What else, audience? Are you in favor of more technology for Bermudians? Like, are you in favor of more technology? We're moving, it seems like, in the right direction, giving people an opportunity to save time and save money. But what kind of new technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? What are your thoughts? Teo Dill says a centralized healthcare data platform. Everyone's records are always available to themselves and healthcare professionals at all time. I like that. Because I hate having to call. It's like if you need to get your transcripts or something from a school, like you got to call your doctor's office. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I'm like, can't we just use one system where we have access to everything? I agree. I like that idea, Teo. Yeah. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, Cash App or a Zelle-like system where you're not charged for money transfers. Charles, having Zelle, I've never used Cash App. I use Zelle. It's so smooth and easy, man. Like if we can get a Zelle in Bermuda, I would be in my heavens. Like smooth, folks. It's so easy to use. I mean, you'd have people. I think it would be great for small business entrepreneurs, to be honest. It would be very helpful for people who are small businesses and entrepreneurs. All right, audience. Again, are you in favor of more technology, and what kind of technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? What technology do you believe would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? Sancho Durham says, Charles, I'm with you. Apple Pay, Cash App. When traveling, I tell people I don't have Zelle. They look at me like this from the Stone Ages. Well, remember I said I didn't have Google Pay a couple weeks ago. Apparently, not only do I have it, I've been using it for a few years. I just didn't know that's what it was, folks. So I'm that guy. Trust me. I always tell people I'm not technologically inclined. They're like, but you do this and do that. Folks, YouTube is a great teacher. If I want to learn something today, I'll go on YouTube. But that's not me just genuinely like knowing different parts of technology. I just have a mindset where I'm willing to learn different things about technology. But again, what kind of technology do you believe would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? What else do you have? And also, do you believe are you in favor of more technology? Suzanne Ingham says, no, technology equals less people working, which puts a lot more stress on families making ends meet. There are always glitches. CD with technology. No, not in favor of it. Our people need jobs. Okay. Taylor Dill says, it's inevitable. There's no viable path to get Gen Z back to paperwork. Yeah, Taylor. I mean, it's true. Like, that's real. They'd be like, what is this thing? I mean, do they even still do schoolwork on paper? Like, do they write? Or is everything computer-based? I mean, brother's got a point. Got to meet people where they are. Manuela John says, in favor of more technology, yes, but not just to tick off boxes on the political agenda. They must work from the beginning or they frustrate the users. Yeah, it has to be done right. It has to be done properly, right? You don't want to just do things for the sake of doing them. Philip Trott says, Butterfield Bank has Google Pay now. Yes, I believe Maya or Teo shared that on the show some months back. That's when it came up. That's when the conversation came up where I said I don't have it, or I don't think I've used it, and then realizing, you silly boy, that's what you use to pay for your parking. That's what you do to do that. And I just didn't realize that's what it was called. So forgive me, audience, forgive me. I think I told you a fib, a lie, because I just didn't know the name of the. Look, I'm the kind of person who I would be, standing out on a street today, and someone say, "Hey, I saw you down such and such street yesterday. Were you in the area?" I'm like, "What part of is that?" Probably, because I don't know what streets I'm on. So forgive me for not knowing some of the things that I use. That's just my mindset. But again, audience, what kind of technology do you believe would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? Again, the SureLink is now rolled out. So anyone who uses public transportation, you can use the SureLink. We're supposed to be having a rideshare app coming soon. The judiciary, through the Chief Justice, and according to the Royal Gazette, they're expected to unveil an electronic case management system by next spring, so April 1st of next year. So, government seems to be, the premier had a press conference last month or month before regarding people being able to make payments online, right? So there are some things happening as far as technology, but what else? What else comes to mind for you? Like, Charles mentioned Zelle and Cash App, and Teo's mentioned one centralized healthcare data platform where everyone can just grab things. What else comes to mind for you when you think something that can make life easier for Bermudians re-technology? Like, what else comes to mind when you think of something that, can improve your life as an individual what kind of technology do you believe would make your life easier? That you say, Bermuda, we don't have this, but the government needs to make this happen. It will take us from point A to Z that quickly. Is there anything that comes to mind? Now, again, we know an election's coming up. These conversations are going to be more and more like brainstorming sessions for us to figure out ways to improve our livelihoods, right? And through technology, we can probably do that best. So the question again, what kind of new technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? And there's a lot of technology out there. So I'm not sure how familiar you all are. Teodil says better retail websites outside of price drops. It'd be the best way to compete with Amazon's relative convenience. Always found that's part interesting. I think instead of each company having its own website, because they're hard to maintain, like you need people to maintain those. Maybe they can team up, like, or an entrepreneur can take an opportunity to, sell space on a website like an Amazon, create something like that. I just don't know if a lot of businesses, especially the smaller scale, have the resources to manage a website. And we all know Bermudians are fickle, right? So they want a website. Are they really going to go on it as often as they go on Amazon? Chances are it would be no, because they'll go back to the same things they say no, where, Bermuda has a lack of options or choices and so on. So I don't know. Interesting one. Michael Daniels says Bermuda needs technology that helps us to live a record of to have a live record, of who we are. Too many people are falling through the cracks. A live record of who we are. What does that mean, Michael Daniels? Help us out. What does Bermuda needs technology that helps us to have a live record of who we are? Too many people falling through the cracks. What does that mean? Audience, you help me. What does that mean? I don't want to assume what I'm assuming, so it'd be better if people can explain what they actually mean when they share their comments or add to the conversation. But what else, audience? What kind of new technology? We've heard banking, we've heard immigration. Is there anything else? Anything else? Key of an ABDA technology around better freshwater systems. Think I heard that tanks are not that sanitary. It's interesting because for so long we've bragged about the water we catch, bragged about the way we catch water and so on. But there have been questions. Is it still as sanitary and healthy? With new technology available, like, are people even checking their tanks to ensure that they are clean and still healthy? Yeah, that's something worth considering there, Kia. That's definitely something worth considering. What else, audience? What other kinds of new technology would improve Bermuda for Bermudians? What else are you thinking as far as technology that can improve Bermuda for Bermudians? What else is on your radar as far as that? Let us know. We're going to bring Teo Dillon for the Daily Hour news break. And after that, like I said, we have a very good, special guest, Azuree Williams, coming back on. It's been a while since she's been on, so we're going to be talking about the SunSmart program. Teo Dill says, I think it could mean something like a national ID system, speaking to Michael Daniels' comment, with key interactions with the state, voter registration status, tax payments, government healthcare use, social services receipt being recorded all in real time. Okay. Got you. Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, I would love to see an online database of Bermudians living outside of Bermuda, where they are, what they're doing. What do you mean? Like, you would love to see it as in it should be public record, or you just want the government to have a record? Please explain. I don't need anyone knowing what I'm doing beyond Bermuda. You all don't want to know that. Anyway, let's bring Teo Dillon for Daily Hour news break. After that, we've got Azuree Williams coming on from Bermuda Cancer Health, and we'll be discussing how we can keep ourselves safe and our skin healthy throughout the summer.
Morning, Jay. Good to see you. Happy to spend some time with y'all this morning. I think
Uh-oh.
Charles' suggestion is less horrifying than you may be presuming, because one of the key problems with our island completely, and this relates to every sector you can think of, like healthcare, education, social services, like everything, is that for a very, very small place with functionally only one way in and out of the island to other countries, our data gathering is it's just horrible. Like horrible. Like in a place this size, you would think, especially nowadays, it would be uncomplicated to gather as much information as possible about who's here, how they're doing, and therefore to figure out what they need and then how to best provide that. But we just don't do that. And one of the things that's missing in our national data gathering is exactly on a as close to real time as possible what the population is, who's here, who left, why did they do that. Because if you can pick up trends, like if there's suddenly a 90% increase of people emigrating elsewhere to get their children specialized educational support, for example, then that means there's a market, or I shouldn't say market, a cohort of the community that needs those services. And one way to keep them here is just to provide those services. But if we don't know why people are leaving and what they're doing when they get there, we're not equipped to actually provide that, to even know to provide that support.
Well, I guess my question would be is why do you think in such a small island we're not doing that already?
Because we're not. I'm telling you, man. That's the thing.
Why aren't we? Is it politically like beneficial not to have these records?
Well, it would require like a fundamental shift in the way that the state interacts with citizens or residents, I should say. Like at every, when you interact with the services in the US, right? Like you got login credentials, and so if you go to the DMV, like you gotta, like, well, depending on the state that you go to, but like there's stuff that you got to do to just interact with the government. Like you already have to have stuff set up. Like when people move to the UK, like they can't get anything done until they get their national insurance number. Like that opens up access to basically everything. That means that everybody there is accustomed to not only supplying the government with that type of information so that sort of record can be generated, but at the same time, the government is accustomed to processing that information in a timely and reasonable fashion. And that's not part of our cultural experience. So it's like really simple, but incredibly hard, if you know what I mean. Like it's not complicated, but it's hard. So I think that's what's gotten in the way.
Well, another thing that just came to the Royal Gazette is Minister Jason Hayward. The government's plan to engage prospective vendors to start work on digitization of a project for the Department of Immigration. So I know someone, I think Sancha mentioned in the comments, well, he goes, the Department of Immigration has now strategically used RFI, which was put out by the Information and Digital Technology Department to identify smart government partners to transform Bermuda. The newly formed team within the government is assisting in the process. So digitizing immigration, I think that is something that people desperately want. So yeah, for me, it's nothing to clap about or celebrate. It's something that's long overdue, right?
That's important to remember, because even as good as it sounds and necessary as it sounds, it should have been in place. Like it just should have.
Yeah, for sure. All right, what you got for us today, Tay?
Well, starting off with some sad news. The Bermuda Police Service has confirmed that 64-year-old Marvin Johnson is this year's third road fatality. The original incident took place on Friday, the 12th of April, when Mr. Johnson, understood to be a pedestrian at the time, was seriously injured when a car driving along Long Bay Lane made a left turn onto Nursery and collided with him. Now, Mr. Johnson was in hospital for the next couple of months after being pronounced dead on June 3rd. If you can help the investigation, reach out to RPU Constable Kevin Medeiros via 717-2402 or K Medeiros, that's Medeiros at bps.bm. And we have some more sadly predictable news. That follows on to the previous story, really really well, for lack of a better word. There was a 3-vehicle collision yesterday afternoon in York, which led to one of the drivers being arrested on, wait for it, suspicion of impaired driving. It went around 3 p.m. at the junction of Middle Road and Longford, involving 2 cars and a van. Thankfully, it's no life-threatening injuries are believed to have been sustained. So, Jay, I do the news with the Daily Hour family gratefully twice a week. And basically every time, every single newscast I do has like a collision in it. And that can't feel right, you know?
It's become our norm, Teo. It's become our norm. You know, I'm gonna go back to 2007, 2008, you know, and you know, the crazy thing I remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that serious stories we would report back then were really all politically based, or you know, people marching and so on. This is not to say that fatalities and collisions didn't happen, and I just wonder, and you know, is it the fact that we're reporting them more, or is it like we're more reckless? Is it, I mean, we have more traffic on them back then? I don't think we do. Like, what? Again, we hear about the collisions, Teo, but I would love to hear more about the investigations, like what led to it, because we spoke about it last week. Is it distracted driving? Is it, you know, what is it? I think if we, the public, knew more information, like what's leading to them, I think we can begin to holistically and collectively address the problem that we have.
Yeah, I mean, that would be at least an essential part of the process, I think. Just getting more context for each of the collisions. Now, in this instance, if the original arrest was legit, then it would be people drinking and driving, or using some mind-altering substance in driving, which, you know, we all know happens way more often than is reasonable. But if it was made clear that, say, 75% of collisions are tied to cell phone use, like that particular subset of distracted driving, then, you know, that could help make the argument to get people to change their behavior. But without that added context, it's kind of difficult to make the case. So, yeah. Now, in other separate news, Hurricane Beryl's record-breaking size and early appearance have led international meteorologists to revise an originally frightening hurricane season forecast upwards. Colorado State University just dropped an updated forecast for this year's Atlantic hurricane season, with the researchers now projecting an extremely active season with 25 named storms and 12 hurricanes, with half of them being at least Category 3s. This is up from their original forecast back in April, which called for at least one less major hurricane. And the new forecast already includes Alberto, Beryl, and Chris, all named storms we've already seen so far this season. Again, that's much earlier than is typical. So the storms are coming in sooner, and they're coming in harder, and they're moving a lot slower, which means the risk of everything, property damage, loss of life, it continues to increase.
Yeah. I mean, again, we on Friday Fun Day, we discussed things that Bermudians and necessities for hurricanes, and the like. My hope is that we continue to take them seriously. Again, when you're young, you don't earn anything. It's like a day off from school or a day off from work. But this is Mother Nature, man. You can't control what nature's going to do. And I think it's best if we prepare in the most serious way for these, Mother Nature's wrath.
Yeah. Well, Jay, you remember, right? Like, my impression is when we were young, outside of Emily, which was like one of them ones, people in the community tended not to take hurricanes too seriously. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that big of a deal. But Fabian adjusted our national thinking. Like the culture shifted specifically because we lost folks for the first time in living memory, explicitly due to a hurricane. And it's horrible that that's the kind of information we need to receive to adjust our behaviors. Like, people actually had to die to get us to think more reasonably about this. But I'm hopeful that the lessons that we learned and the pain we experienced then will continue to keep us moving appropriately when it comes to this stuff. Because, One of the things that has always been beautiful about Bermuda is these major hurricanes come through and we don't have funerals after them.
Right.
And that should remain.
Indeed.
So, you know,
yeah. We got a huge role, accountability, and responsibility to play in that.
Yeah. Now, some really good news. Shout out to Captain Colin Oxnard and the crew of the Fender Bender after winning the largest single payout in the history of the Bermuda Billfish Blast. The crew, after releasing 7 blue marlin and 1 light marlin, after they caught them, won over $400,000 in prize money from $1.1 million in total cash payout. Both are record-breaking numbers in the event's 20th anniversary. As a result of this success, the Fender Bender team also picked up an invitation to next year's Costa Offshore World Championship in Costa Rica. Now, that story got me wondering how big these fish can actually get. And how often are these monsters caught? And here's a really cool short summary of this married couple that were just like on a fun vacation type thing, who broke a 30-year-old record based on the size of the fish they caught. This thing's it's crazy.
Couple successfully reeled in a colossal swordfish, exceeding all of their expectations. This extraordinary catch shattered a long-standing record that had been established by Stephen Stanford in 1978. Who then caught a sizable swordfish that weighed 612 pounds near Key Largo, Florida. Weighing an astonishing 757 pounds, the catch made their trip unforgettable and left everyone in awe of the remarkable achievement. According to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, it's estimated that it may take another 4 decades before someone can surpass this newfound milestone and breaks the recently set record.
You know, that's a big fish. I don't want to be in the water, right?
No, I wouldn't want to mess with a living being that big. Yeah. That's like getting a fist fight with an elephant. Like why? Leave that thing alone.
But did you say in that tournament they catch the fish and throw them back over?
Yeah, it's catch and release. To be environmentally responsible and which is wonderful.
I hope they use fish-friendly hooks if there's such a thing.
I see. You don't want to throw back with messed up mouths or something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? As a person who couldn't eat solid foods for a month, I would hate the fish have to go through like it's lost his wisdom teeth or something.
Oh, that's so sweet, Jay. I'll check you. Being all, environmentally conscious and in an empathetic way. Like you're identifying with the fish's sore mouth.
But then I'll be craving fried fish after the show. So
yeah. Well, just eat it with a tear running down the side of your face. You'll be all right. Now, this is one that I know you'll be excited to hear for a bunch of different reasons. But everybody else that's 30 plus. One of Bermuda's best date night restaurants of all time is opening up again.
Don't tell me.
Before Christmas. Okay, I'm not okay. Yes.
Carriage House?
Nope.
Water Lot?
There you go. According to West End Properties, Water Lot Inn will reopen on December the 3rd once all the extensive interior and exterior renovations are wrapped up. The hiring process for the reopening is starting this week, and according to Fairmont Southampton GM Karen McDonald, local companies are leading the efforts on the overhaul of the Water Lot. I am so geeked about this. The Water Lot is the spot. I'm telling you, y'all youngins, if you don't know, you don't know. When it comes back up, go.
But I was so confused why they kept Boundary open and not Water Lot. Water Lot's down the hill. You could have kept that. No, in saying that, folks, if they're opening, they're talking about opening before Christmas. Call now and ask when you can start making reservations because it's going to be crazy. And if you're trying to get those points before Christmas, so you could, you want those bonus points, what that Christmas bonus with your honey or whoever, do it.
You know what's up.
Do it.
That restaurant is the one. If you want a chance at a real relationship with somebody that's looking a little iffy, take them down there. They'll look at you different. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You might not be that cute, but you go sit in them chairs, sit behind that table. The ambiance will boost your attractiveness factor by a solid 2.4. Promise
you. Hold up, Tay. I'm being accused of something. Sancho says, so excited. Jamal owes me dinner. Let me just say this for the rumors start. When it comes to Sherry and Sancho, I'm probably got some debts to them. But the reason I haven't paid my debts is because they're always so busy. That's the real.
Well, See, that would be more plausible, Jay, if you weren't giggling like that as you would explain. You see what you feel what I'm saying? Like, you're my man, like I trust you, but like you look a little shaky, baby.
I'm saying I'm a happy guy. I giggle a lot these days, you know. Yeah, it's the medication. Days of the year. Oh, well, how's the weather looking? What were we looking at today?
Everything should be unremarkably gorgeous between now and the start of the weekend. That's mostly settled conditions, bright, clear skies, short, sharp bursts of rain. And this is the only rough part of the forecast between today and Saturday. The air temperature should max out around 85 degrees on the thermometer, but it's going to feel like it's closer to 95 because of the humidity and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that's really, really nice on one level, but if you're like working in town and you got to walk around and, you know, make deliveries, go to meetings, you're gonna need another shower by lunchtime. I'm pretty sure.
All right, folks. So like I say, well, Taylor's gonna like today. I think it's just nasty, but here in the U.S., it's National Kitten Day.
Come on, man.
Come on, where?
You don't like kittens?
No, I don't.
Everybody likes kittens.
No, I'm not everybody. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Before you go, audience, a kitten or a puppy? What do you choose? A kitten or a puppy? What do you choose, Taylor?
Kitten. 10 times out of 10.
Got to be puppy for me. It's puppy.
No.
Do you still have a cat, Taylor?
Yeah. No, Beatsy's still alive.
Yeah. See, I remember Beatsy. You said like Beatsy's still alive. Like I was.
No. I mean, Beatsy old, bro. Like for some reason, in the people in my life, the cats in my life, I don't know if it's something to do with me or I just been lucky. They live for a long time, man. Like Beatsy's pushing on like 16.
Yeah, and what's that in cat years? Is it like dog, like where he's like probably 108?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like, and he's still running away from things. You know, he's
a geriatric cat, folks. Derek says dog all day. Michelle White says kitten hands down. You got some strange people here. Dawn Ferbert says puppy. WKD Lama says kitten. Teresa Marie says puppy. Helene Swan says cat all the way. Jackie Yu says neither, but definitely a dog over a cat. Suzanne Ingham says I love both, but puppy due to cat allergies. Dogs any day. That's a hard choice, says Carol Griffith, but for now I choose puppy. Yeah. Go enjoy Kitten Dave if you're geriatric Beatsy.
All right, man. Thanks, y'all. See you soon.
Alrighty, folks, don't go anywhere. We've got Azuree Williams coming up. This is important because as a person, myself, as a person who is of darker skin, and through the pandemic, people kept saying, you need to get outside and get your vitamin D. I want to know about this. I want to know, how does a person with skin as dark as me protect ourselves and do this SunSmart program the way it's supposed to be? So stick with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Azuree Williams in 2 minutes, 27 seconds.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
It took 14 days to build your business plan. 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job. 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community, We salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
Summer is almost here. Dive into the season with dog floats and dog pools. Enjoy 20% off West Paul's dog floating toys and shop our life jackets for safety in the water this summer. Get all your summer needs before the holidays and events begin. Don't forget to stock up on poo bags and check out Dicky Bags, the poo bag holder that locks in the smell until you can dispose of it. Remember, even dogs need sunblock, so visit Noah's Ark today, Bermuda's most trusted animal supply store for all your summer essentials, and ask us about our rewards program.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up, a like, a love, whatever platform you are tuned in on. Make sure you share this conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We've got Azuree Williams from the Bermuda Cancer and Health Center. Let's give her a warm TDH welcome, folks. All right, you've seen her before. Calm down. Good morning and happy Wednesday to you.
Morning, happy Wednesday, happy hump day.
Yeah, so I gotta ask you before we get into the serious convo, are you a kitten or a puppy person?
I love both. Growing up, I had a puppy who ran away, so that was devastating. And then I babysat my parents' tenant's kitten, and I had to literally nurse the baby, put the little tea bottle in the mouth. So it's a tough one. I think I've connected with both.
Okay.
I think my house would have both if I wanted pets, but children are enough.
Children are enough. All right, there you go. Children are enough. Well, there you have it, folks. That solves it. Some people like cats, some people love dogs, some people love both. But thank you for coming back, Azuree. It's been quite a while. I think you've, you seemed like a regular at one point, and then we haven't seen you. So.
Not quite a regular, but
yeah. Almost. We had you every couple times a year. But just remind those who may be new to the show. Just remind people of who you are and what it is that you do, actually.
So I am Azuree Williams. I was formerly the event and program manager at Bermuda Cancer and Health Center for the past 10 years. And I am now focusing 100% on just the education side of things. So my job hasn't really changed, except for just no longer focusing on the events. But I'm responsible for all of our education programs, developing the programs, implementing them. I do all the community outreach. So none of that has really changed. It's still going to continue.
All righty. And let's jump right into the education part. So what is the SunSmart program?
So the SunSmart program has been around it's getting close to 30 years. It's a free education program that's being provided primarily to the school-aged people in the community from preschool all the way up to high school. But we also do corporate community outreach with lunch and learns. On the corporate level, we've done community outreach as well. And it's basically a program where we go into the community offering free SunSmart education, what you need to do to reduce your skin cancer risk, and how to encourage young people to develop those behaviors while they're young. And then we have a free SunSmart accreditation training program where we allow the summer camps to come in, do the training with us. I offer 4 training sessions every year, 3 to 4, various camps, whether it's public or private. They come in, they do the training with us. We assess these camps where we do pop-up surprise SunSmart evaluations where we go and assess them to see if they're doing all the things that they committed to doing as far as being SunSmart, and making sure that they're providing sun-safe environments for young people. And we provide free emergency sunscreen, free emergency sunglasses and sunscreen for those camps that do the accreditation training with us. And that's all sponsored by the St. Baldrick's Foundation. They provide us with a grant that allows us to give free presentations and allows us to give free emergency SunSmart SunSmart supplies.
Okay, and you said the SunSmart program's been around for 30 years?
Almost, yeah. More
Audience,
like 27, 28.
I just want to know from our audience, was anyone in the audience, were you all familiar with the SunSmart program? And it's okay if you weren't, that's why we're having conversations like today, but audience, let us know, were you familiar with the SunSmart program? So you can kind of give us some background. What's the overall goal of the program?
Definitely reducing skin cancer risk in particular. I mean, the goal of Bermuda Cancer and Health Center, part of the mission is, eliminating cancer and making sure that people have healthier lives free of cancer and all diseases if we can. It's a huge undertaking, but that's part of my remit. And, I continue to hit the pavement and be an advocate for healthier lifestyle choices. And then specifically speaking of skin cancer and SunSmart, it's about reducing skin cancer risk by being aware of what the ultraviolet radiation means, what its impact on the impact of it on your skin. How can you protect yourself so you don't hear those words, you have skin cancer? And you mentioned earlier, as a person of color, how can you balance absorbing that vitamin D from the sun, but also making sure that you're moderating your time in the sun and protecting your skin.
And I'm going to touch on that a bit later, but before we get in there, because I think growing up, you just hear like the sun's healthy, the sun's this. Like, I don't come from a space where I was actually spoken to about protecting our skin, right? In some spaces, as I got older, Black people don't get skin cancer. It's not something we speak to that. Like, why is there a need to protect our skin, regardless of race or even skin tones?
Well, skin cancer, like any cancer, first and foremost, is colorblind. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. Anyone can be diagnosed with skin cancer. We have seen multiple people of color, specifically in Bermuda, be diagnosed with skin cancer and die from skin cancer. And that's large in part because people of color typically are diagnosed at late stage because of that myth, thinking, I have lots of melanin in my skin, I'm fine. Yes, melanin works to a degree as a sun protectant, which is why people of color or people who have darker skin have to stay in the sun a little longer with no sun protection in order to absorb a sufficient amount of vitamin D. So when we're talking about absorbing vitamin D, which is what we need for bone, strong bones, is if you're really light or of European descent, you only need about 10 to 15 minutes in the sun with no sun protection whatsoever before 10 in the morning in order to absorb a sufficient amount of vitamin D. The darker you are, because of that melanin, it does take longer to absorb the vitamin D, so you need about 15 to 20 minutes. After that, you might start feeling a burn. And when we have that burning sensation or our skin starts to go red and burn, and people of color do get burnt in the sun, a large part of that is because of ultraviolet B. And there are two types of radiation that we need to be protecting ourselves from, ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B. So when you're choosing a sunscreen, it should be broad spectrum, making sure that you're wearing protective clothing. That's the easiest part. If you wear protective clothing, you don't have to continue to reapply like sunscreen, but wherever your skin is uncovered or not protected or exposed, you need to make sure that you're putting on sunscreen. We've had so many people of color here in Bermuda be diagnosed with skin cancer, and skin cancer is definitely, it's the 6th most commonly diagnosed cancer in Bermuda. We have hundreds of cases every year. We have some rare types of skin cancer as well that are diagnosed on island. We have one young lady who has one of the most rare forms of skin cancer here diagnosed. She is a Black Bermudian, and she admits when she was younger, she used to run all the time and be out in the sun with no sun protection. She was a runner or an athlete because she did other sports as well. But she definitely admits to being out in the sun here in subtropical Bermuda and not wearing any sun protection whatsoever. And now almost every year, she's constantly got to go overseas to have a reoccurring skin cancer that appears in her back, and she has to have it removed almost every year. And then it's a recovery period. So it's a continuous cycle. She does have a rare skin cancer. She's one in approximately 7 people. She was the 7th person to be diagnosed globally, and this was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So there are likely more. One of our donors had a best friend who, and this is for the radiometer that they use at Bermuda Weather Service. We have a partnership with them. So the radiometer is something that has been put in place to ensure that people are aware what the radiation levels are currently in Bermuda. The only time the radiometer is not up and running is when it's in the Netherlands for recalibration, because I have to make sure everything's in working order. Once a year, it goes for maintenance. But the weather.bm, they have a graph showing you the real time for the radiation levels here. And one of our donors for the radiometer, her best friend, a Black Bermudian, whose mother was very, very dark skinned, died from skin cancer many, many moons ago. And this is one of the reasons why this particular donor is passionate and devoted to making sure that she's assisting us with getting the messaging out there. And having that radiometer is so critical and so important. We do presentations every week at Endeavor in the east and the west end of the island when they're up and running during the school year, and they use that as part of their lessons every week with every new cohort that comes in to do the training at Endeavor. They give them the spiel about the UV index, and they use the graph as a teaching tool. And we encourage this when we're doing presentations.
You would encourage everyone to really understand how the UV index works.
Oh, absolutely. Some people may take it for granted, but we say that if you are a caregiver or anyone that's responsible for young people or even seniors, and you know that you're planning excursions, especially during the summer months, that you should take heed and use that as a reading. You know, go to weather.bm, use the radiation index, and you will know when it's going to be peak, when it's going to be low, and what times of the day you should be out. Most times people should be trying to seek as much shade as possible between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. That's a little difficult for those outdoor workers like landscapers, roofers, even fishermen. It's important to note wearing protective clothing. That means the clothing has a label that says UPF, which stands for ultraviolet protection factor. The higher the number you go, the more protection you're going to get. Go as high as you want with the protective clothing. It's an ingredient built in that works just like sunscreen, but you're not absorbing it into your skin. Whereas sunscreen, you're absorbing into your skin. You have to be mindful of what types of sunscreen you use. We recommend mineral base, zinc oxide as your active ingredient, SPF 30 to 35. Over 95% of sunscreens are chemical-based sunscreens, loaded with ingredients that are harmful, that can cause cancer. So it's important to read the ingredients, what the labels say on the back of those tins, the jars, the tubes of sunscreen. Go to ewg.org. That's my go-to website that I recommend to everyone. It's environmentalworkersgroup.org. And they list the good, the bad, and the ugly in sunscreens. They list out all the ingredients and tell you which ingredients are human carcinogens. This is something important to know.
This is a live and engaging show, and I really do my best to try to engage the audience, but you've just taken it. But you've answered some of the questions. Teresa and Marie did ask how many people in Bermuda suffer skin cancer on average, and I think you said 100.
Hundreds. We have hundreds, over 100 diagnosed. Usually, sometimes it could be close to 200, but definitely we're in the hundreds for.
You just don't hear about skin cancer, so you don't seem to hear about it like you do others, like how they have things going on for like prostate cancer and breast cancer.
Breast cancer, right? Yeah. Because breast and prostate are number 1 and number 2. Well, for men, prostate's number 1. For women, breast cancer is number 1. However, skin cancer is number 6. That's diagnosed. That's the ranking for Bermuda. And a lot of the skin cancer cases that we see, they're the milder versions of skin cancer, whereas melanoma, which is the more serious version of skin cancer, we see more of what we call basal cell and squamous cell carcinomas. Those are the most predominant skin cancers where patients are in and out. They're usually found topically on the outer layer of skin. They're visible. They easily get removed. And those can tend to reoccur every few months, sometimes for some people, definitely more common in people of European ancestry. However, the melanomas, which are more serious, I mean, in the US, 2 people die every hour from melanoma in the United States. Fortunately, Bermuda stats are not the same. However, we're hoping more and more with the new Bermuda Cancer Control Board that we're able to get more accurate stats, because we don't have all the stats in Bermuda for cancers in general. Teo was talking about a centralized data system. We need that for so many things, especially in the healthcare system. So it would be in the coming months and years that we'll see more and more data of what the actual stats are. We have stats for skin cancer, but not all the stats, because it's not mandatory for doctors to report all cancer cases, and a lot of cases get diagnosed overseas, not always here in Bermuda.
I didn't even think of that. When people go overseas and they're diagnosed, how that may not be picked up or put in a Bermuda database, right? Interesting. There's a lot to this. I did ask, has anyone over the 30 years, you said, going on 30 years, heard? And Suzanne Ingham said no. Michelle White said no, don't think so. But Shelley Smith Daniel says yes, presentations at West Pembroke School. Now, for people who are tuned in right now and they're like, you know what? I know this is mainly for schools and there's some community outreach and companies. How can they learn more or even get you to come to their company or organization and do a presentation about this? Because to me, this information is extremely necessary, especially, again, as I mentioned earlier, as you touched on, during the pandemic, all I heard was people with dark skin, you need to get outside, you need to be in the sun. But I've also never heard these same people speak to me about applying safe screen on to my face and body,
Yeah. So folks can email sunsmart@chc.bm to book a presentation, or they can go online to our website, chc.bm, to book a free presentation. We have so many community groups that have approached us. So it doesn't matter if definitely it needs to be a certain group size. We're not going to come to people's homes and just do like 2 to 4 people. We definitely have gone to church programs. We've done a presentation for age concern. We do health fairs as well. It really depends. My schedule gets super busy and intense. So it depends on how quickly you get in with your request to book. And then, sorry, what was your last question about you putting sunscreen on?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, learning about this is so important, because I remember during the pandemic, people kept saying, oh, yes, us people with darker skin, we need to be outside. But I've never heard any of these experts, as I would call them, speak about what to do to protect ourselves when we're going outside to get the vitamin D. So hopefully these are things that we'll learn as a part of your program as well.
Oh, absolutely. And part of protecting your skin as a person of color, as I mentioned, yes, the melanin to a degree gives you a certain level of protection, which is why it takes longer for a person of color to absorb vitamin D from the sun, because when you have on sun protection, it's a barrier. It creates a shield. So whether you have on protective clothing or sunscreen, it's creating a shield to protect your body from absorbing that radiation from the sun. However, in order to absorb the vitamin D, you need to go in the sun before preferably 10 in the morning, because by 10, the UV index really starts to peak. So it's important to be mindful of that. But there are sunscreens out there that have been created for people of color. Again, going to ewg.org and knowing that there are so many people of color that I have engaged here in Bermuda who do not use sunscreen, refuse to use sunscreen because they believe sunscreen causes cancer. I'm here to state right now, right here, that some sunscreens have carcinogens in them. Carcinogens mean they cause cancer. This is why I suggest that people go to ewg.org to look at the different sunscreens that are listed out. This organization is non-government funded. It's based in the US. It's private. It does all of its own extensive research on skincare products. And it's important to note that, as I mentioned, I have encountered people of color here in Bermuda who have skin cancer. Whether it's people who I've engaged in the community or even some of my personal contacts, whether it's my family members, that we have a strong family history of cancer in general, and some cancers lead to other cancers. I mean, I can talk about this stuff all day, as you can see, but it's very important to note there are some rare skin cancers out there that also happen in people of color. Bob Marley is one of those people.
Yep.
He died from skin cancer, and his skin cancer was rare, but most common in people of color. The same skin cancer he died from, we have seen in people here in Bermuda. There are other eye diseases as well. Cataracts is attributed to overexposure from the sun. We're seeing younger people being diagnosed with cataracts. It's no longer something that's just concentrated or impacts seniors. We've seen people in their 40s diagnosed with cataracts. And that's in part not wearing proper eyewear when they're out in the sun. So it's not just sunscreen or sun protective clothing. You need to make sure you're wearing a wide brimmed hat to give your face shade, your ears, the back of your neck. Also ensuring that you're wearing proper eyewear where it says broad spectrum, a minimum of UV 400 protection. There are eye diseases. There's ocular melanoma, which is a skin cancer in the eye. It is real. It's so much, so many layers to this. The most important thing I think people can take away is just being mindful that there's a combination of prevention measures you need to be using in order to protect yourselves. It's not just sunscreen, because sunscreen will never give you 100% protection. You need slap on your sunscreen, slip on protective clothing, slap on a hat, seek shade between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., slide on your sunglasses, and ensure that you're staying hydrated to avoid heat stroke.
Indeed. And just real quickly before we let you head out, Teresa Marie, she's asking, do you have a Facebook page? Tell them where they, the audience, where they can find you and just stay connected.
Yes, so Bermuda Cancer and Health for Facebook, as well as Instagram. I think it's BDA Cancer and Health. And then we also have our website, which has all of the icons that people can select in order to get them to whichever social media pages they're looking for.
All right, Azuree, thank you so much. Another informative conversation. Hopefully, some people reach out and people start doing what they can to take care of their skin. You don't have to tell me twice to, stay inside between those times during the day and the summer.
Vitamin D, though. Don't forget.
I'll catch it in the evening, Azuree. I'll catch it in the evening. Thank you so much. Let's keep in touch, because there's a lot of work you all are doing that audience definitely needs to be engaged on. So have a wonderful day, and we'll chat soon.
You too. Thanks.
Azuree Williams, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it with your family, your friends, your colleagues, and reach out to them. I would love to hear the next time she comes on that some of you all reached out and got them into your organization or your school or your camp to educate people about things like this. I'm not lying. I seriously used to have people tell me, oh, you're black, you can't get skin cancer. Come on. I mean, come on. Anyway, let's take our final break, folks. Come back. Somebody's going to be lucky lucky to be eligible if they get the question right. Stick with us. It's a music related question today for the Daily Play.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Azuree Williams for Bermuda Cancer and Health. Always a good conversation with her. Hopefully you all found it helpful. And again, please do us a favor, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, whatever platform you tuned in on. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Bermuda Trivia, the game show, episode 1 is now available on bcgtv.com, and the card game is available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, here we go. Here's your question. It's music related today. First person who answers correctly on my screen will be eligible for this week's prize. Here we go. Which member of the Beatles married Yoko Ono? Oh, no, sorry. We have a winner. We have a winner. Charles H. Jeffers II. He said John Lennon. Showed up on my screen. Teresa Marie also said it, but Charles showed up first. John Lennon. So congratulations to Charles. He gets in the winning column, joining Rosalind Famous. All right, let's just reflect on today's conversation. As far as the technology, I think Bermuda's making a lot of progress. Obviously, with elections on the horizon, there's going to be a lot of tick-off stuff said to say we did this, we did that. I'm going to sit here and tell you, thank you, government, for doing what we should have already done. I think anything that can make our lives easier should be a consideration. Now, I do take into consideration that some people feel that technology would eliminate jobs. I don't necessarily feel like that should be the case. I feel like we should, as individuals, be able to retool. I know as we get older, we're slower to technology and wanting to learn and do new things, but this is just a reality. We're gonna have to find a way to make life work for ourselves. So I don't think technology is the big enemy. I think we just need to embrace and evolve with it as best as we can. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other technology is being considered to improve the lives of Bermuda and Bermudians. As far as the conversation with Azuree Williams, again, thank you to her and Bermuda Cancer and Health for trusting our platform to have informative conversations like what we had today. I think it's important for us to know the impact of simple things like nature, the sun on our skin. For ages, I've heard many people with darker complexions say, oh, I don't use sunscreen, I'm black, you know. I understand the importance of getting vitamin D, but I also understand that we have to do it in a responsible way. So all that said, folks, let me give you some daily inspiration. I don't even have a daily inspiration for you. I can't let you go without a daily inspirational quote, can I? So let me find one for you. Let me find one for you. Let's see. We need a daily inspirational quote. All right, here we go. This is interesting. Here you go. Quote, imagination and fiction make up more than 3/4 of our real life, end quote. Simone Weil. That's an interesting one. Anyway, folks, it is time to head out. So please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BA's group of companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman, and please do make it a safe and a great day. I am is out. Peace.